Hi dear students, welcome back to biology classes. In this chapter, let's continue with the morphology of flowering plants. Here is an important instruction. Already I have covered some part of this chapter, but due to COVID-19 pandemic, some of the sections or some part of this chapter have been removed. Now let us see which are the section or part of this chapter have been removed for the academic year 2020-21. That is 5.1 the root, then 5.2 stem, 5.3 the leaf, it includes leaf and its modification, whereas 5.4 and 5.5 it is being retained. We will continue with this 5.4 and 5.5 in this video, okay, and further 5.6 that is the fruit, it is being removed, the seed it is being removed, okay. In addition to this, from the section 5.9 the description of some important families it is been mentioned. There are 3 families that every year we used to study, but this year the family Fabaceae it is being deleted, okay. So we need to discuss about we have to learn the 2 families, that is Solanaceae and Liliaceae, okay. So in this chapter let us continue with 5.4, okay. So in this video let us continue with the inflorescence. Before discussing about the inflorescence, we need to understand what is flower and how these flowers are formed. We all know that the flower, it is the reproductive part of the plants, that is in angiosperms the flower it is a sexual reproductive part, it takes part in the process of sexual reproduction, and these flowers are they are modified shoot, and again I would like to say the shoot modification is meant for sexual reproduction. Here what happens at the time of formation of flower or the season where the flowering takes place, during that season the plant gets ready by changing its physiology, that is the shoot apical meristem. The shoot apical meristem changes into floral meristem. So the meristem now it is capable of producing flower. Now a brief discussion about how the shoot apical meristem gets modified into floral meristem. Here what happens, the internode do not elongate. What does it mean? During the vegetative growth of the plant body, we know that parts of the plant, that is this is a node. Node is a point from where a leaf or branch arises, okay. Then what is internode? The distance between, that is this distance from this node to this node. Here it is a node, it is a point from where a leaf arises, and this is also another node, okay. So the distance between 2 successive nodes is known as internode. Here you can imagine the internode, it has elongated, so there is a distance between 2 successive nodes, but at the time of flower formation these internodes they do not get elongate. The elongation of the internodes will not take place. Look at this, this is the apical meristem, okay. This is one node. At the time of formation of floral meristem, the internode elongation does not take place, hence the distance between 2 nodes it is being reduced. The next node is formed here, and next node is formed here, and the next node is formed here, okay. It means in general I can tell you that the apex produce different floral appendages at the successive nodes. During vegetative growth, from each node a leaf or branch arises, but at the time of formation of flower, instead of leaf, one whorl of the flower is being formed here. For example, it may get developed into the calyx, which is the outermost whorl of the flower. Okay, and next, in the next whorl, instead of forming leaves from this node, the second whorl of the flower, that is corolla, develops. And again from the next internode, successive internode, it may develop into the male reproductive organs, that is androecium may develops. Okay, and the last one, it develops into the female reproductive part, that is gynoecium. That is carpel or gynoecium. It will the formation of these structures takes place. Okay, hence the shoot tip gets transformed into the floral meristem. Okay, and later when shoot tip it ends in a formation of single flower, then it is solitary. Okay, but whereas in some other cases the cluster of flowers have been produced. Okay, and these cluster of flowers, they have been arranged on one axis, that is known as what? Inflorescence. Okay, ಹೂ ಗುಚ್ಛ ಅಂತ ಏನು ಹೇಳ್ತೀರಿ, ಸಾಮಾನ್ಯವಾಗಿ ಕೆಲವೊಂದಿಷ್ಟು ಪ್ಲಾಂಟ್ಸಲ್ಲಿ ನೀವು ನೋಡಿರ್ಬೋದು, ಫ್ಲವರ್ಸ್ ಎಲ್ಲ ಸೇರಿಕೊಂಡು ಒಂದು ಗುಚ್ಛದ ಥರ ಡೆವಲಪ್ ಆಗಿರ್ತವೆ. ಸೊ ಆ ಹೂ ನ್ಯಾಚುರಲಿ ನೈಸರ್ಗಿಕವಾಗಿ ಪ್ರೊಡ್ಯೂಸ್ ಆದಂಥ ಹೂವಿನ ಗುಚ್ಛಕ್ಕೆ ಏನು ಹೇಳ್ತೀವಿ ನಾವು ಅಂತಂದರೆ ಇನ್ಫ್ಲಾರೆಸೆನ್ಸ್ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತೇವೆ. So here we need to remember the definition of inflorescence. How can you define the inflorescence? The arrangement of flowers on floral axis is termed as inflorescence. Okay, I hope this point is clear. Now let us discuss in detail about the types of inflorescence. Dear students, you might have seen in hibiscus plant, the hibiscus flower, it is produced singly, means only one flower is produced. Okay, depending on whether the apex gets converted into flower or continues to grow, mainly there are two types of inflorescence. Okay, so the two types of inflorescence are, one is racemose inflorescence and another one is cymose inflorescence. Now, what is racemose inflorescence? In the racemose inflorescence, the flowers are produced this is the inflorescence axis from here to here. On the inflorescence axis, the number of flowers have been produced. Here, the tip of the inflorescence axis, it consists of the bud. Because of presence of this bud, the inflorescence axis continues to grow. Okay, so the flowers are born laterally in acropetal manner or acropetal succession. What is this acropetal succession? That is, older flower towards the base of the inflorescence axis and younger flower towards the apex of the inflorescence axis. Okay, so then how can you define the racemose inflorescence? That is, it is a type of inflorescence where the main axis continues to grow due to presence of apical bud or terminal bud, and the flowers are born laterally in a acropetal manner or a acropetal succession. Hence, the racemose type of inflorescence is known as the indefinite type of inflorescence. Okay, so here is an example. This is a cassia plant. It is a simple racemose type of inflorescence. You can look at this. This is the apex of the flower where the apical bud is present. Because of presence of this apical bud, the inflorescence axis continues to grow. Whereas the older flower, it is present towards the base. Okay, and younger flower, it is present towards the apex. This is same the diagrammatic representation. Here also you can see this is the older flower and this is the apical, the axis consists of apical bud. Okay, and this is the younger flower, it is present towards the apex, older flower it is present towards the base. Okay, so this is about racemose inflorescence. Now the second one is then second type of inflorescence is the cymose inflorescence. What is a cymose inflorescence? Look at this. This is the inflorescence axis. This inflorescence axis terminates with a flower. This is the flower, and the younger flowers are produced on either lateral side of the older flower. This is the older flower and these are the younger flowers. Okay, so here the inflorescence axis terminates in a flower, hence further it does not grow. Okay, hence the cymose inflorescence is known as definite type of inflorescence. Then with this image also, this is an example for cymose inflorescence. Here this is older flower. Okay, and this is the youngest flower. Okay, so here also the inflorescence axis ends with a flower. Okay, whereas the other flowers, that is younger flowers, they bore on either side of the older flower. Now it is very important to differentiate the two types of inflorescence. One is racemose inflorescence and another one is cymose inflorescence. As I said in the previous slide, in a racemose inflorescence, the main axis continues to grow because of presence of the apical bud, whereas the cymose inflorescence, the main axis terminates in a flower, hence there is a limited growth. Okay, therefore the racemose inflorescence is known as indefinite type of inflorescence, whereas the cymose inflorescence is known as definite type of inflorescence. Okay, then the second difference is the order of arrangement of flowers. In a racemose inflorescence, the flowers are borne laterally in an acropetal succession. As I said, what is the acropetal succession? That is older flower towards the base, whereas younger flower towards the apex of the inflorescence axis. Whereas in case of cymose inflorescence, the flowers are borne in a basipetal order. What is basipetal order? That is older flower towards the apex, because the inflorescence axis ends in a flower, whereas the younger flowers, they produced on either side of, on both the sides of the inflorescence axis. Okay, so these are the two main differences between the racemose inflorescence and the cymose inflorescence. Thank you.